Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. I wasn't supposed to hear it. She thought I'd already left for work. The front door was shut, but I was still standing in the laundry room, trying to find a clean pair of socks. That's when I heard her on the phone, light and laughing. So different from how she spoke to me. No, he won't say anything. He never does. He's tired 24/7. That's kind of the point. Silence. Then that's what he's for. To work and shut up. She laughed again. I stood there, sockless, jaw clenched, staring at the dent in the dryer door I accidentally made 2 years ago. I thought that dent was the most humiliating thing in my life. I was wrong. A minute later, I walked out like I hadn't heard anything. She was in the kitchen, back turned, pouring coffee like a scene from a fake commercial marriage. I said, "I'm tired." She didn't even flinch, just smirked. "That's what you're for, to work. Don't whine." I don't know what hit me harder, hearing it the second time or realizing she'd said it out loud to me like it was a punchline she'd already rehearsed. I asked quietly, "Then what are you for?" She froze for just a second and then turned around like nothing happened. "I have a lot to do today. Can you pick up more detergent on the way back?" That was it. No answer, no apology, nothing. But that day, I didn't go to work. Instead, I followed her, and that's when everything started unraveling. I sat in the car outside the salon for nearly 10 minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel tighter than I needed to. Francis's words echoed in my ears like a scream buried in cotton. "She hasn't worked here for 3 weeks. Didn't she tell you?" No. No, she hadn't. I drove away, not even sure where I was going. I just knew I couldn't go back home yet. Not with my head spinning, not with my stomach turning like I'd swallowed a dozen rocks. I parked behind a dusty Dollar Depot 2 towns over, the kind of place no one looks twice at. I sat there until the sun started dipping, my thoughts unraveling in slow, ugly waves. For 3 weeks, every morning, she'd put on that same maroon uniform. Every afternoon, she'd say, "Rough day, the boss is crazy." Every evening, she'd toss her shoes by the door and complain about customers, co-workers, how no one ever appreciated her. I believed all of it. I believed her. When I finally got home, she was already there, lounging on the couch in a silk robe she hadn't worn since our anniversary 2 years ago. She had a wine glass in one hand and some kind of show playing on the TV, but she wasn't watching it. She just stared at me with that glazed-over look like I was the one intruding. "You're home late," she said. "GG garage fall apart without you." I didn't say anything, not yet. I just watched her, trying to memorize every detail. The way she smirked, the casual way she swirled her wine, how confident she looked like she had absolutely nothing to hide. "Francis says, 'Hi,'" I muttered. That made her pause. Just a blink, but I caught it. The tiniest flicker of nerves. Then she scoffed. "Oh, did you just swing by the salon to gossip with old ladies now? You haven't worked there in 3 weeks." Now she looked up. "Excuse me. You've been leaving every morning in uniform pretending. Where the hell have you been going, Lena?" She sat back, swirling her wine again, slower this time. "Don't start with your paranoia, Curtis. You work too much and sleep too little, and now you're hearing conspiracies." I laughed, and it scared both of us. It wasn't funny, but it was either that or scream. "You lied every single day. But fine, let's say I'm crazy. Unlock your phone." She clutched it instinctively like it was her heartbeat. "No." "Why not?" "Because I don't like the way you're talking to me." "You mean asking questions?" She stood up fast, knocking over the wine. It bled across the carpet like a crime scene. "This is why I didn't tell you," she hissed. "You turn everything into a drama. You whine, Curtis. You whine when you're tired. When you're confused, when you don't get what you want, that's what this is. Another sad little tantrum." I stared at the mess on the floor. "So where do you go?" She didn't answer, but that silence was loud enough to shatter everything I thought I knew about my marriage. The next morning, I pretended to sleep. I kept my eyes barely open, just enough to see Lena get ready in the mirror. Same uniform, same perfectly straight ponytail, same spritz of perfume she never wore for me anymore. I watched her grab her work bag and tiptoe out the door like she didn't want to wake me. But her phone was still under her pillow. That was her mistake. I waited 5 minutes, heart racing like I was robbing a bank. I reached beneath the pillow and pulled it out. I didn't expect it to be unlocked, but it was. No passcode, just a simple swipe. My hands were shaking, and I knew if she came back in for any reason, I'd be caught. But I had to know. First red flag, a text thread with someone saved as L. Just the letter. The last message read, "Can't wait to see you again today. Same hotel." That was from her. The response already got the key. Room 213. I felt something cold crawl up my spine. I kept scrolling. There were months of messages, plans, jokes, photos she never sent to me. She told him about me like I was some pitiful old roommate she couldn't get rid of. She even called me the mule. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there in the quiet, holding her phone like it was burning a hole through my palm. I took screenshots of everything and emailed it to myself. Evidence. Not that I even knew what I'd do with it yet. I skipped work again, told the boss I had car trouble. Then I drove across town to a cheap hotel with a broken neon sign that buzzed even in daylight. I parked out back and waited. 2 hours later, a silver car pulled in. She stepped out in different clothes now, ripped jeans and heels, not work clothes. Her bag was still the same though, so was her smile. A man opened the door for her, tall, confident, wearing a wedding ring. I stayed in my car. I didn't charge in. I didn't make a scene. I just watched them disappear into room 213. Then I did something she never expected. I drove straight home and packed a bag. Just one. My clothes, my old laptop, and a flash drive with the screenshots. I didn't leave a note. I didn't slam the door. I just turned off the alarm clock. She wouldn't need it anymore because for once I wasn't going to be the one waking up early to work while she laughed behind my back. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on my brother's couch, staring at a muted television, watching people cook pasta I didn't have the stomach to eat. I'd only told him I needed a few days away from home. No details, no accusations. I couldn't even say her name out loud yet. Felt too much like admitting the truth. That I'd been lied to for longer than I'd known. That I'd been played, used, and laughed at behind my back. The next morning, I didn't go to work again. My phone was full of missed calls and texts from Lena. "Where are you? This isn't funny. You better answer me." And finally, "I swear if you're pulling one of your moody games again." I didn't respond. Not even when she left a voicemail crying, asking if I was hurt, saying she was worried sick. It was laughable. She hadn't been worried sick when she was booking hotel rooms under fake names, or when she was kissing a married man while wearing the necklace I bought her for our anniversary. Later that day, I logged into our shared bank account and started downloading statements. I didn't know why I hadn't done it sooner. The lies weren't just emotional, they were financial too. Hotel bookings under vague merchant codes, purchases at upscale restaurants I'd never heard of, Uber charges that didn't match her supposed work hours. It didn't take long to map out a pattern. She wasn't just sneaking around, she was using my money to do it. I called the hotel pretending to be her husband, which technically I still was. Asked if room 213 had any forgotten items. The front desk clerk probably knew, said, "Oh yeah, the Roberts couple forgot a scarf and a key card." Roberts, that was the name she used, not her maiden name, not mine, just something made up and clean. I asked him to hold it until someone could pick it up. Then I hung up and stared at the floor for 10 minutes straight. The worst part, it didn't even surprise me anymore. By the time she finally tracked down where I was after harassing my boss, calling my mum, even showing up at my brother's garage, I was numb. She banged on the front door like she was the victim of some cruel prank. When I opened it, she looked at me like I was the cheater. "Curtis," she said, tears already queued up. "What are you doing here? Why are you acting like this?" I held up her phone. I brought it with me when I left. It was still unlocked, open to the screenshots. I know Lena. I know about the hotel, about the texts, about the name Roberts. I know everything. She stared at the screen like it wasn't even hers, like I had forged the evidence with spare time and resentment. Then her expression changed. Her lips trembled, not with guilt, with rage. "You went through my phone," she whispered. That was her first concern, not the affair, not the lies, not the man with the ring. Just that I had dared to uncover what she thought she'd hidden well enough. That told me everything I needed to know. I never thought I'd hear a grown woman say the words, "You invaded my privacy," with such righteous fury, while her betrayal was still glowing on the screen. She wasn't sorry, she wasn't ashamed, she was angry. Furious, actually, that I had peeled back the curtain on the life she thought she could keep separate from the one she shared with me. She stepped into the living room like she still had rights in this space, like I should be the one apologizing. "You shouldn't have gone through my phone, Curtis," she said again, voice trembling, not from guilt, but from entitlement. "I don't go through your stuff." I nearly laughed. "Because you already assumed there's nothing to find, right? Because I come home every night with calluses and you come home with perfume that's not yours." She crossed her arms. "You don't get it." "No, I really don't. So help me out." She looked away, jaw clenched, and then she said it, the line that made something in me truly snap. "You stopped being a husband a long time ago. You're just there. You work, you eat, you complain, you haven't touched me in months." That wasn't just a cheap shot, it was a rewrite of reality. I had tried. Even when I was exhausted, even when she brushed me off, I still asked her how she was. Offered to cook, planned a weekend trip she cancelled at the last minute. I still showed up every day while she was in hotel rooms under fake names. I asked quietly, "So what?" Cheating was the solution. She didn't answer directly. Instead, she muttered, "At least with him, I feel something." That was it. That was the knife in the chest, twisted with a smile, not because she admitted to the affair I already knew, but because she said it like I should understand, like I should nod and agree that I'd failed, that I was the reason she started texting someone else while I was underneath cars 12 hours a day. "I didn't leave because I didn't want to ruin everything," she added. "I thought we could fix things if you stopped acting like such a victim all the time." It was almost impressive the way she flipped it. Somehow I was the problem for noticing the smoke and asking if there was a fire. "You used my money," I said calmly, too calmly. "You lied every day and you're still standing here blaming me because I got tired." Her face fell for a second. Just a second. But then it hardened again. "I didn't want this to be permanent." "You checked into the same hotel every week." Silence. "You called me the mule. You mocked me." That landed. Her eyes darted away. "You don't get to cry now," I said, stepping past her toward the door. "You lost the right to be the victim the second you started building a second life while I was building our first." She didn't follow me. She didn't say my name. She just stood there, phone still glowing in her hand, looking like she was finally realizing she had pushed the quiet guy too far. 2 days passed before I learned his name. Not from her. She still refused to admit anything beyond the phrase, "It just happened." Like betrayal was a car crash, like someone else was driving her to that hotel room. She never once said his name, and for some reason that made it worse. It made it feel deliberate, calculated, as if protecting his identity meant more to her than salvaging anything with me. I had to know, not for revenge, though part of me wished I had the stomach for it, but for the same reason you look at a wound. You want to see how deep it goes. So I started connecting dots. There was one text where he told her not to bring drama like last time. That told me there was a last time pattern. Then I remembered the wine bottle I saw in the trash weeks ago, the one I hadn't bought. I dug through my email and found the grocery delivery receipts. Nothing matched that bottle. Then it clicked. I remembered Lena's friend Jory mentioning a man named Reed at a barbecue last fall. She teased Lena about a secret inside joke and winked. At the time, I thought nothing of it. Now, I wasn't so sure. I messaged Jory from a burner account. I didn't expect much, but what I got was a screenshot she clearly didn't mean to send me. A group selfie from 3 months ago. Lena, Jory, and a tall guy with a beard. Arm resting a little too naturally around Lena's waist. Caption, "Double date night sparkles. Don't tell the husbands. LOL." That was all I needed. His name was Reed. Reed Tupper. I looked him up on social media. Married, 2 kids, a dog, and a LinkedIn profile full of motivational quotes about integrity. The man cheating on his wife with mine was posting about leadership and being the man your daughter thinks you are. The irony would have been funny if I wasn't the one bleeding from it. I didn't tell Lena I knew, not yet. She still tiptoed around the truth, acting like we were in some awkward phase. She started cooking again, like a meal would reset the damage. She laughed too hard at things on TV, probably hoping I'd join in. I didn't. I just watched her closely, waiting for the moment she dropped the act and said what she really felt. But it never came. That night, I drafted an email to Reed's wife. Her name was Danielle. I found her work email listed under a charity site she volunteered for. I sat with the message open for 2 hours. I had all the evidence, texts, photos, screenshots, but something stopped me. Not fear, not mercy, something more hollow than both. Exhaustion. I closed the laptop and went to bed, and when I woke up, Lena was gone again. No note, no explanation, just a calendar alert that popped up on her iPad, still synced to our cloud. Lunch or tea? At 12:30 Parkway Inn. She wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. At exactly 12:40 p.m., I sat across the street from the Parkway Inn, pretending to scroll through my phone while my coffee went cold. The plan wasn't clear. I didn't know if I was there to confront her, to confirm what I already knew, or to finally see what betrayal looks like in daylight. It's strange how quiet the world seems when your heart is busy breaking in slow motion. The noise of traffic fades. You hear your own pulse instead. And when her car pulled up, everything else disappeared. Lena stepped out wearing the same coat she used to call her interview jacket. Now I realized it wasn't about jobs. It was about hiding in plain sight. She looked around before walking in, her head slightly lowered. 10 minutes later, a silver SUV parked 2 spots down. Reed got out. The same man from the pictures, same smug posture, same gold band glinting in the sun. He didn't look nervous. He looked happy, relaxed. Like this wasn't forbidden, just routine. They met halfway and hugged quickly, like 2 people who'd done it too many times to care. Then they disappeared inside. I should have gone in. I should have shouted, exposed them both. But I didn't. I just sat there watching through the glass, feeling smaller with every minute. I thought about all the hours I'd spent fixing things. Her car, our leaky roof, her laptop when it broke. I'd fixed everything except the one thing that mattered. And maybe that's because she didn't want to be fixed. Maybe I was never her partner, just the backdrop for her secret life. After half an hour, they came out laughing. He touched her shoulder and she leaned in close, whispering something that made him grin. When they kissed, I didn't flinch. I didn't rage. I just felt empty, like I'd already died somewhere between the first lie and this moment. As they drove off in separate cars, I started mine and followed her, not for revenge, but for closure. She didn't go home. She went to a small park near the lake, parked, and sat there for almost 20 minutes, staring at her reflection in the water. Maybe guilt, maybe nothing at all. I didn't approach. I drove home, unlocked her iPad, and transferred every screenshot, every message, every picture to a hidden folder labeled tax files. Then I poured myself a drink and waited. At 6, she came in. Same coat, same calm face. "You're home early," she said, like the last few weeks hadn't happened. I looked at her and simply asked, "How was lunch?" She froze. Her fingers twitched around her purse strap. For the first time in a long time, she didn't have a single clever word to say. She didn't speak for nearly a full minute. I watched her eyes search my face, looking for clues. How much I knew, what I'd seen, how deep the damage went. I didn't offer any comfort. I didn't raise my voice either, just silence, the same kind she gave me all those nights she left without explanation. "How was your day?" she finally asked, her voice smaller than I'd ever heard it. "I followed you," I said plainly. "I saw Reed. I saw the kiss. I saw everything." Lena collapsed onto the couch like her legs gave out. The room stayed quiet for a while, her breathing getting shakier, her hands clutching her knees like that would hold the world together. But the world she built, this double life, this secret routine, it had already cracked. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just told her I was done playing the fool. "I'm not here to beg or fight," I said. "I just came to say goodbye before the lawyers handle the rest." That broke her. She tried to spin it, of course. She claimed it wasn't serious, that it was a mistake, that Reed meant nothing. Then she blamed stress, then loneliness, then me. But none of it landed anymore. I had finally reached the place she never expected me to find. Clarity and peace. I moved out that night. My brother had an extra room. I picked up extra shifts for a while just to stay busy, but eventually I started going home earlier, sleeping better, laughing more. I signed the divorce papers without shaking, and the best part, I finally stopped feeling like a shadow in my own life. A few months later, I got a call. It was Reed's wife, Danielle. I hadn't sent her anything, but someone had. She thanked me for my silence, said it gave her time to prepare. She was moving forward too. Somehow, knowing we both chose peace over chaos felt like the real win. And as for Lena, she sent a message last week. Just one sentence. "You seem happy now." I didn't reply. She was right, I was. Sometimes the loudest revenge is rebuilding your life in silence. Now, I want to hear from you. What moment in this story shocked you the most? And what would you have done differently? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe to Reddit Confessions for more powerful stories like this.